Hello, and welcome back to the Market Mamas podcast. We're so glad you guys stopped by. I'm Becky, and this is my girl, Kendra. We are day traders from the West Coast. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and Kendra's in Northern Cali. We were brought together first at our trading education community back in 2021, and we quickly became friends and accountability partners through our trading and have become quite a duo since then. Kendra and I are futures day traders just over 3.5 years into our trading journeys. This podcast community at Market Mamas is our platform to speak authentically about the real day-to-day challenges of learning to be a consistently profitable day trader. Our goal is to have a space to offer up our constructive conversations that might offer other developing traders something to help them learn, grow, and feel supported as these conversations do for us. So, like many others out there working to greatly improve their station in life, the challenges we are growing through are significant. But every day, we do everything that we can to get 1% better. Today, Kendra's going to dive deep into a topic that, as developing traders, we are always working on, and that is how to go from good to great. I can't wait to get into this discussion, Kendra.
Yes. Thank you all for being here with us today, and especially our new viewers. Welcome. Again, I'm looking forward to sharing my experience and insights for sure with this discussion today. As Becky said, we've been trading in this arena now for over 3 years, and it's already quite astonishing when you look back to where we started. I day trade primarily in NASDAQ futures now at this point, and my profitable trading strategy has been built around auction theory with a huge emphasis on market profile, volume profile, and order flow. However, that's not at all where I started. I first learned about the stock market from the ground up, having zero knowledge, understanding, or exposure, besides sometimes hearing about the main indices, S&P 500, NASDAQ, the Dow, just on the news. And I really think that is the baseline that majority of adults have in relation to the stock market. So I feel extremely blessed to be in this position now, to not only have acquired a real skill set to trade in the open market, but also to be a co-creator and founder of our awesome podcast, Market Mamas. It's just such leaps and bounds from where we first started learning, even what a candlestick was, how to identify patterns, or what support and resistance meant, right, Becky?
Oh my God, it's crazy to think of what we had no concept of when we first started, and then who we are today. It's night and day. Like when I talk to people who have known me throughout my adulthood, they're like, how the hell did you even come from like one of us to like not one of us? And like you speak this whole foreign language, and it's not like German or Japanese, but it's a foreign language to anyone who doesn't really understand what trading and the stock market is. And so it is kind of a leap of like, once you start this rabbit hole and you decide you love it, it's like the world just can expand exponentially and you can learn so many crazy things. It's really beautiful evolution that we are mid-process with.
Right. It's a great journey to be on for sure. And one of the things I truly love about trading is that there is no ceiling, no corporate ladder, no limits to the potential growth and development. And our individual success as a trader, it really is completely self-designed and driven. One of my favorite tips I discovered when learning to create content with Becky was the imitate and innovate concept. And if you are like Becky and I and consume a ton of books and material on self-development and growth mindset, it's likely you've noticed that many of the authors, motivational speakers, public figures, they're all sharing much of the same theories, messages, and strategies, but they're all putting their own special, unique, and spin on it. I also really like how this concept of imitate and innovate applies to trading and selecting the style in which you will learn and develop into your own edge. For example, Becky and I received our advanced secondary trading education from mentors that had a genuine heart to pay it forward with their profitable trading strategy to help others. And they built their trading system from collecting knowledge from other sources and putting in the time to refine it to suit and serve them. So I find this part of trading just very inspiring, that there are so many teachers out there who have opened up their playbooks for aspiring traders to imitate. Today, specifically, I want to explore how, as students of the game, we can then apply that innovation factor to further our own individual trading blueprint. I believe nothing makes an educator or a mentor more proud than having helped plant a seed that takes root and produces fruit of an even greater variety and transformation.
Oh, I love that. And I think that it's so true. When you can find a mentor that genuinely has put in the work to really understand and have a skill to teach you, but also to do it from a selfless place where they just want to level up everyone else with them, it's a completely different energy than like a big business style. Like I want subscription fees and I'm not super concerned about the P&L outcomes of my students. So different. So if you can be as lucky as Kendra and I are to find mentors who really just are excellent and can want you to thrive and learn, it's so beautiful and so empowering. And it allows us a safe space to take in everything they're saying, to ask questions, to get feedback, and to build our own based in their image, but also like how we see it and how we want to be as traders. And that opportunity and that phase of our growth when we're in that environment being taught by someone with such beautiful values and experience, it's really powerful. And that's really the best situation for us to like really push ourselves and expand and figure out who we are going to be, I think.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so true. And Becky and I have been on both sides of that. And you can find value in everything. And, at the end of the day, it's what you do with the knowledge you acquire. If you've came across grading systems or educations that maybe you feel like haven't really been able to fully support you, just keep going and keep looking, because I really believe there are, like Becky and I found, there are really good instructors out there, people who are doing it from a good place. But be careful, do your research, but don't give up. If you feel like you've been burned by a company, maybe and it didn't work out, you just keep going for sure, because we have, and I'm so glad we did. And in my own personal trading experience, I found that much of the work that has pushed me forward to new levels, it was highly personal and not exactly a requirement to trade. I found that there's a big difference between the efforts you put into learning the style to acquire a skill set, again, the imitation, and then the individual work to have a system that is grounded in discovery and advancement, which is the critical part of innovation. So I know for myself, and I think others find it very exciting to learn something new. There's so much inspiration and there's motivation when you set out to learn a new strategy. Many of us who went all in, full dedication, have learned really strong technicals of trading and a solid understanding of the markets. We all have our routines that we do day in and day out without fail, so we can prepare for the daily opportunities this market may present. And we show up every day to practice and learn. Things like charting, doing our top-down analysis, making trade plans, recording a live trade session or taking live notes, journaling our trades, sharing our executions with the trading community or accountability partner. These are all really great habits that keep you learning, maintaining your identity as a trader, and gives you the reps that you need to eventually break out as an extremely successful and consistent profitable trader. And there's just so much that goes into just having that solid foundation to grow from, and then to be able to really focus on things like, how do I execute better? Can I follow how the market moves better? How can I have better reactions that will bring on substantial improvements?
Right. And I love how you call it putting in the reps, because that's really what it is. You can really assimilate that to like going to the gym. You can work out every day, 5 days a week for years, months, and not really see what it's doing. But then, at a moment of clarity or taking a photo session or something, a year later, after so much effort having put in so many reps, thousands and thousands of reps, you're like, damn, like that's not the same body anymore. And that's the same thing with our trading careers. Like putting in every single thing, every way we study, every question we ask, every note we make, everything that we do is slightly better the next day. It's changing who we are. It's innovating our process in a subtle way, because it's like tiny little adjustments over time create a big change. And I love how you outline that, because it's very, very prevalent in a trader's journey. And trading is such a long journey that you're not going to always notice and feel like you're really getting anywhere. But if you can take a minute and stand back and be like, I've done a million little things in the last year, it really has mattered. So keep it up. Like that's empowering.
Right. We have to let it compound, right? Especially when we're doing the day in, day out, looking at that bigger picture for sure. Reflecting on that, it helps, keeps you motivated. It keeps you fixated on your goals. And I really believe that it takes a deeper level of discovery in order to develop and evolve your trade strategy along with your execution growth. For myself, there's this period right after a trading session that it provides instant feedback, of course. Did I win or lose, right? Am I green on my day or am I red? Then there's the sharing of my execution, which involves explaining the logic and intention behind my trade or my trades. Did I follow my trade plan and setup? How well did I read this market? And how in sync were my actions? How did I feel during my trade session? Like, it's a vulnerable time. And it's usually when I'm the most critical of myself and when I'm seeking validation. I'm checking my account statuses, how much potential profit I earned, how much closer I am to meeting my benchmark goals. These are all very important factors that help gauge my performance on any given day. And it can also affect my confidence about how I'm doing overall. But I am trying a lot to not internalize those results on my day too much right after my trade session, but rather compartmentalize it and then pivot, especially since I know that that's the time I'm going to be least able to look at my results from a neutral stance and really be able to extract the most value from it. And I believe that the trade review and recaps, that they're just so important to make those discoveries. In my executions, I've learned the way I could go about doing that, it can really make it even more effective. So as I've made significant improvements on implementing things like using if-then statements, being more selective on market conditions I will participate in, I can see that having a positive impact on my win rate, on cleaner execution days for sure. And then also it's been much easier to identify if my trade was just flat wrong, if I traded with a bias, if I over traded out of stubbornness. Those lesson days are great, and they really reinforce the realities of understanding that this market's always right, and just to not get too married to my grand plans. As much sense as they might make at the time, I like to ask myself the question of, what is this day wanting to teach me? And I think the harder lessons to identify are when I am following my system well, when I am being consistently profitable, and admittedly, I'm getting more comfortable. I don't want to try and fix what's not broken. However, I think that is really precisely when I have to apply pressure, but purposeful pressure to then take what's good and figure out, okay, how can I make this great?
Yeah. I think that speaks so powerfully to the importance of doing a recap of your day, because you're right. When you're in the trading session and then immediately afterwards, there is a heightened emotional state that is just, you're just not objective about what you did, how you did it, how you could have done slightly better, how someone else did slightly better once you like communicating with your community. That really is not the moment to gain the best lessons from that day. But Kendra and I both are very big on every night, afternoon but usually the night for us, going back through what happened during the day and how we dealt with it, and then what lessons we gleaned from it. And that really is so powerful in teaching us what we could do better, but not from a stance of, I wish I did it 15 minutes ago, but more from like a global view of like, this day ended up being a trending day, and how did it end up starting out, and what kind of information could I find sooner by looking at it in hindsight? And because the market really does repeat itself. I mean, it's sure there's variances in it, but also there's so much to gain from looking back on a day and doing that recap and understanding the lessons, and then using those to just be a little bit better each day. And so that's just part of what we have to do. And you are a great example of exactly when you can still gain something from everyday win or loss. Like you said, like if you're good and you're doing a steady job, you could sit there and be content, but that's also a launching pad to further success if we push it to make it so.
Yeah, it is. And it's hard because I feel like we want to channel that contentedness like in the moment, right? We want to channel that contentedness when we've done our job. You know, we always talk about that. We have daily goals we're trying to meet, but then we also have the bigger picture goal, right? And just the constant improving as a trader. And then trusting that, of course, our results are going to organically improve when we stay focused on that factor. And yeah, totally. Let's circle back to what, in my opinion, can help with making these discoveries, to go from good to great, to just really level up. And of course, I want to highlight more about the trade review and recap. In the past, before my evening charting time, I would look over my execution, maybe do a replay for a specific trade I didn't execute well or an opportunity I missed. I would 100% recommend using replay if you have it available on your platform, especially when you're learning and building your edge. So what I've started doing since last month is making a more in-depth recording of my trade recap for the entire session. So this involves walking myself back through the entire session, things that I observed and notated pre-market, my intentions for the day, location and conditions around opening, how I was interpreting price action in congruence with my live data. I review the live notes I was taking at those timestamps, how I was honoring and waiting for my if then levels. And then while I'm doing all this, I'm also sharing my different charts that I execute on and that I monitor. Also explaining what I was seeing and how that influenced my trade biases and actions. I'm also commenting a great deal on my feelings during the session and then in hindsight. And this is helping me to discover things that I didn't see or give enough credence to, as well as patterns I'm recognizing. Like Becky talked about earlier, how the market repeats itself, recognizing those patterns, but not only within the market, but within myself. And then I also want to mention here, again, I feel like we've been mentioning this book the past like 5 episodes, but in Mindset Secrets for Winning, again, the author had a really great recommendation, and it went like this: looking at results or mistakes more analytically with a degree of detachment. So that really helped me just to see the value of doing my trade recaps from a different vantage point that really could help me just get even more value and understand myself more. And then I just know for also my personality of being a very self-reliant person and being a Taurus, it's very common that I have the most regard for trusting myself and my own beliefs. And so talking myself through these recordings, it just really helps put me at a peaceful place and in a powerful mood just by injecting even more belief in my trading abilities. And they usually only take about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I will play it back and just watch it before moving on to updating my charts for the next morning.
Yeah, kind of. You are a vision in your independence and ability to really put in the work for yourself. Like, this is an example of like next level being thorough and like recapping and understanding what you did and how it impacted you and how you could pivot from that. That's really, really a powerful recap. I love that you're doing that and giving this example to everyone that's watching as a potential avenue for learning from your own executions and your own style and what you could do with the market. I mean, I don't go into that detail myself in the evening, but I would say that I have a live stream with my trading community 4 days a week. And in that situation, we all discuss what we saw in the market and how we traded and what we could do better and what someone else saw. And in that situation, like it's so very powerful for me because it offers like that constructive conversation around the market, and it gives so much more feedback on what we all could learn and gain and grow and move forward. Another nod to like having a powerful community, because there's different ways that we can look back on a morning session and learn from it and do whatever speaks to you. I mean, Kendra has this gorgeous, fiercely independent ability in her to just tackle everything. And so whatever speaks to you, like lean into showing up for yourself, whether that's in a class or that's just in your own moment of reassessing your situation, because that's how we really learn, is by not just straight moving on from something, but making sure we're grasping all of the lessons that an opportunity can teach us to help us find our next levels.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, trading is such a inside job, right? And it's such a constant development and involvement of oneself. And it's very personal and it's very self-directed pursuit. I really believe taking that additional time with just you and Miss Market is a really wise investment. It really helps foster that strong inner voice that we as traders, we do need to be able to lean into when we're on the charts. I look forward to continue to growing that strength myself, as I still sometimes overthink or hesitate when I need to act. I know it takes time, experience, and more reps to build that trust within your own trading intuition and instincts. Time outside of regular trading hours where you can look at things from a different lens, it is the most helpful. It's easier to identify those areas that can take you further when you're not still carrying some type of feelings over from a trade execution. I like to always have a couple specific areas of growth that I am targeting in addition to the overall intentions to follow my process and trade my edge. There's always more on the management side of things and trading that could really help us on our journey of going from good to becoming great. So doing the trade recap recordings, it really has revealed to me areas that I needed to do a better job with, such as position sizing and trade exits. Those are things I was able to define and then be deliberate to focus on what I wanted to see happen. So I want to hear from you all. Let me know if any of you out there do recordings, if you do trade recaps for your sessions, and if they've also brought value to your trading game.
Yeah, I think it looks different for everyone. And this is such an important topic. And whatever speaks to you most clearly, to just study it. Every time we can get our eyes on Miss Market and how she moves and how we move with her, that's only going to refine our skills and our abilities. And so we are very individual in this pursuit for sure. And you have to do what brings you the most value and basically just show up in some manner or another. And that will move your ball forward at whatever pace is comfortable for you. So this is a really good opportunity to learn from different ways that we can push ourselves.
Yeah. Well, and it's just a relationship too. I think it's a perspective that we all need to embrace is like, we have a relationship with the market. And I think that helps us too on days when we do have struggle days, is respecting that factor, just like in human relationships, right? Like nothing's perfect. There's highs and lows. We have to put in that time and effort and dedication. And I think that's very different. Like trading makes you a very different individual, and the market, the amount of time that we put in and how we study her, how we play, how we show up, like we're in this game every day, day in and day out. And so I think that having that mutual respect, I think is really, really strong. And so I love having my time with Miss Market and just appreciating her and being so grateful for the abundance, this amazing opportunity that we have now. And thank you all for tuning in today. It means so much to Becky and I to have this super supportive community and safe space to share our experiences as developing traders. We have learned over these past 3 years how easily our confidence can rise and fall based on our performance, but we are dedicated to the long game and showing up each day for this work towards our goals. We know and want all our viewers to know that you are worthy of this pursuit and all your goals, and you have so much more value to bring forth during this lifetime. We hope that you all will believe that whatever you feel called to do has already been given to you. Just keep at it one day at a time. Watch all your beautiful pieces fall into place, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Please reach out to us to connect or collaborate. All of our email, website, and social information are in the description below. And as I always say, our best trading days are ahead. Take care.
Bye.